What a lot of people may not know is that there were two paper-style games that were released last Friday. Yes, there was that one with the guy with the mustache, and then there was a really important one called Duck Detective. Now, if you're growing a YouTube channel and you really want more eyes on you, would you choose either the arguably biggest game of the year for the Switch, or would you go with Duck Detective? Well, obviously, I'm not in my right mind, and I always think, hey, how can I sabotage my own channel? That's right, I went with Duck Detective first. And you might ask yourself, Nemo, why would you do that? You know that more people are going to be excited for Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door, and there's going to be like 5% of people who've even heard of Duck Detective. So why would you do this? And I'll tell you why. Because it's simple. For one, Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door is a really good game, but it's long. And I do have quite a bit to say about it. I haven't even beaten it yet. But Duck Detective, on the other hand, is only like 3 to 4 hours long. And so I just kind of got it out of the way. And that would be a good excuse if I had requested a code and I was expected to do an upload by the publisher. That would all make sense, right? Except for that's not what happened. What happened was I had just purchased Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door. I got home and I was sitting on my couch. I just decided, hey, I'm gonna go take a look at the Nintendo eShop. Why? I don't know. I think partially was because I was like cashing in my gold coins for the cartridge, but also just because I'm addicted to the eShop. And what did I see? I see Duck Detective. I'm like, this game looks awesome. What is it, $7? Yeah, what the hell? I'll get it. And let me tell you, I did not expect to like it as much as I did. This is a game that as soon as I started playing it, I didn't put it down. Not until I beat it. It's crazy, okay? It's crazy that I would be so enthralled with a Duck Detective game that I didn't even start Paper Mario. I was working on other reviews as well, but I could have easily made the decision to just binge Paper Mario as quick as I could. But I was like, nah, I think Duck Detective deserves some shine, and that's what I'm going with first. Plus, I'll be honest, I figured almost everybody was going to talk about Paper Mario, and I definitely wanted to take the time to actually beat it instead of, I don't know, just run through it. This is supposed to be like one of the greatest games ever released on the GameCube, and arguably the best Paper Mario game ever made, so I don't know, I feel like I'd be doing a disservice if I just rushed through it and didn't really appreciate it. Although I will say, do you want a crazy take? Okay, let's just say I'm going on vacation and I am promised that a sequel to Duck Detective is just as good as the original game with the new story and it's all kind of different. Now, I can either take Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door, or I can take the sequel to Duck Detective on my vacation. Honestly, I think I'm taking Duck Detective. Now, that doesn't mean I think it's a better game. No, not at all. And if I could only own one of the two, it would definitely be Paper Mario. Don't get me wrong. It's just the experience of playing it is incredibly enthralling, and it's nice when it's such a compact little experience that you can play it for maybe 2 days and really get your feel of that game. Now again, that's also a downside, honestly. The fact that it is only 3 to 4 hours and there's no replayability, or I should say very little replayability. Honestly, when I beat the first case, and again, that was about 3 to 4 hours, the fact that I knew I wasn't moving on to another case kind of sucked. I was like, no, I'm ready to keep going. I really wanted to find more mysteries to solve. And by the way, the name of this game, which I haven't been saying the full thing, is Duck Detective: The Secret Salami. And if that title in any way beckons anything to you, it's probably for good reason, because that's the way this game is. It is really silly, but also kind of edgy. When you first meet the duck, which I forgot his name, and I do feel bad about that, it calls back to like an old, maybe 30s, 40s, 50s type movie with the detective who's like kind of a hard ass that, you know, he has a drinking problem and is losing his family, that whole thing. And it's basically going on with this duck, and essentially though, it's not alcohol or women, it's bread. He's spending way too much money on fresh bread, and his wife's leaving him. Life is going to hell for this poor duck, and really the only thing that he has to take his mind off of it is solving cases. Now, he's called out to this company because somebody has been stealing people's lunches. This breaks out into a very deep and interesting story, I promise you. It seems like something that you would see like on an after-school special or something that was made for a kid's TV show. But no, it actually does get really good. So to play on that, and again, I'm not going to ruin that because that would be the whole point of the game, but to figure out who's the culprit, who to trust, even to figure out the backstory of the duck, you have to use detective work, and all this comes in the form of your ability to closely examine things. And there will be certain little hints that pop up, and you can essentially grab these words, we'll just say it's bread. So then bread will be put into your notepad. And then there'll be a sentence when it's time to figure out the mystery. And let's just say it's something like, the duck really likes blank. And there'll be a few options that you can choose. And once you hit bread, it'll be like, okay, good, you got that one. Time to move on to the next clue or the next situation. Now, again, that is a very, very simple form of it, and I'm not going to ruin much more than that. But I will say that that's only the first part of how you really get your legs under you, so to speak. You do have a few more weapons in your arsenal, so to speak, one of them being just talking to people. You can sort of understand where they're coming from or their ideas, and you will kind of take note of some of the things that they say. Also, when you are looking around and you're trying to find clues, you'll just find evidence. You'll just find something, and that becomes something that you can then use and question people about. If you find something like, a knife, you can go, hey, what's up with this knife? And you can immediately see a change in the character. And so you kind of pick up on that as well. But most of the game just goes through these kind of word problems, trying to solve these sentences with the words that you find. These clues then become more evident, and you're able to make a full sentence. And whatever that sentence might be will then carry on to the next clue. And that's just pretty much how the entire game goes. Now, if that seems confusing or anything, it's not. I'm just really bad at explaining things, because it's a really simple process. And I think that for the fact that most of this game is nothing but dialogue, it's a lot of conversations and a lot of deductions on your part, the thing that really shines is the writing, the characters. So many of them are really funny in their own light. They're quirky, they're weird, also kind of relatable when it comes to some of them. And so as you find yourself talking to these characters, you almost start to form a like and dislike, and you kind of hope that some of the characters have nothing to do with this big caper, and then some of the other ones, you almost make excuses for them being involved in the caper, even if they actually have nothing to do with it at all. But there are multiple things going on, and there's multiple things for you to find, and so many times does it seem like everybody is guilty. So there's a whole lot for you to deduce, and ultimately, I really like the game. I think it deserves an 8 out of 10. Now, if I'm honest, there just wasn't a lot I could find wrong with it. I think the biggest problem I had with it was too short. Although, honestly, that's counteracted by the price. If it was super expensive, that would be an illegitimate knock, I think. But the graphics are good, the writing is really good, the performance is great. The one thing about this game is it doesn't try to be anything but itself, and I think that really works for it. It knows what type of game it is, and that's what they're doing. There isn't a lot of crazy mechanics to it. The graphics aren't over the top. No, it's just what it is. A really funny story, a really good experience that's quite enthralling. But that's just my thoughts on Duck Detective: The Secret Salami. Let me know what your thoughts are. Have you guys heard of this game? Is this a game that you've seen on eShop as well, like I did? Or have you never heard of it? Anything and everything down in the comment section is much appreciated. I love each and every one of you guys. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.